Carter, and I'm about to introduce a video of how to make a round table using regular pine and stuff. The only reason I'm shooting this intro to the video is that once I went back and looked what I'd done, all you could see was from here down, and not that I wanted my face to be shown, is that a lot of times I do a lot of talking with my hands, and my hands were stuck way up here. So I just wanted you to know who you were looking at, who was talking to you, that sort of thing. Honestly, this is not my sort of thing, but I'm wanting to get into some how-to videos and make it easy for people that want to do woodworking to be able to do stuff on their own without a lot of technical terms, just down home, showing you how to do it, giving you a little bit of knowledge there, and then letting you go out and try it for yourself. So this is my attempt. It is the first time I've actually used a camcorder. Usually I use a phone where I'm having to kind of hold it up here and talk at the same time. So I apologize for the video. It's not the best in the world, but hopefully it gets the point across and you will learn something from it. Thanks. Hey, welcome back. First of all, I need to make an apology for the video that I shot yesterday. I'm not used to working with a camera other than my phone, and so I noticed that when I was trying to demonstrate stuff, the camera was just all over the place, and I thought, yeah, that's just not going to work. So what I'm going to set it up on a tripod. Of course, I'm about to go back and forth to shut it off, but hopefully I can edit all that out. And hopefully you can still hear me. So I'm going to put this at the front of the video series. For those of you just coming in, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you view the first probably 10 or 15 minutes. It's kind of a little bad, but it still gets the point across, and you can at least hear me talking about what we're doing. So let me get it set up, and we'll get back into what we're doing, and that is making a round table, and we start off with our square boards. All right, welcome to making a round table of square boards. All right, welcome to making a round table of square boards. Now, my first time really filming with another camera other than my phone, so I'm not really sure how this is going to work out, how the sound's going to be, but we're going to give it a shot. Anyway, we've had a customer that wants us to build a round table, and of course we got to start by making a square or flat table. I worked on diagrams all night last night of what I want to do. I've made a couple of these before. But basically, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make a square table, and then we're going to make it round. So, that's all we need to know on that. The first important thing is the choice of your lumber. I've spent about maybe 2.5 hours at Home Depot going through the lumber, getting the ones that I wanted. The more time that you spend on your lumber picking out the right pieces, the less work you're going to have to do in the end. And the reason for that is I don't care how flat they're laying in the stack or how great they look. if you don't sight them down the edge, as to take it and sight it down this edge here to see if you've got any kind of curve or something, you're going to run into problems later. Now, every board is not perfect, and even though it may be straight this way, you may still have a cup running along this way, and that's just something that we're going to have to deal with. So what we're going to start with, the customer wants the table to be 48 inches in diameter. So Home Depot, in these, what I got is, I wanted 2x12s, but they just didn't have enough that were worth getting, so I wound up getting some 2x10s also. We're going to join them together, but what we're going to do first, just so it's more manageable and easier to work with, is we're going to cut these down to a 5-foot length, because I don't need the rest of that. And in order to work in this small area that I'm working in, I need a length that I can manage, and 60 inches will give us plenty. So, but I will not be throwing away the extra 3 feet that I have, because I can use those later in another project. So keep that in mind also. Just because you're not using the entire board, don't throw it away. Save it for something else and save yourself some money in the long run. So what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to measure each one. We're going to cut it down to 60 inches. Now, I'm not going to run the saw and try to film it. That just would be counterproductive. You wouldn't get anything out of it. So if you know how to use a saw, I'm lucky enough to have it out. Got a nice saw. It's a 12-inch blade, compound miter saw. So we'll handle up to 12 inches in width. That's one of the basics that you got to have if you wanted to get into this, either as just as a hobby to do it for yourself, or you actually want to get in it to make some money. You can use a circular saw if that's all you have. Make use with whatever you have. It can work. It will take you longer, and your results may not be as good to start with, but it all comes down to in the end how you finish the product. So that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to shut it off for a little bit and get my pieces cut to a length, and then I'll show you what the next step is going to be. All right. We do have all our boards cut to the 5-foot length, but there's a couple things I wanted to show you. This is one of the 12-foot boards here, and you notice right here, this bad spot in here. Preferably, I would not have wanted that. There's another dot here. That one's not so bad, but this one here on the edge, preferably would not have wanted that. But even with this board, when I sighted it at the store, and once again I sight it again when I get here, it had a curve on this end down here. So I wanted to cut that end off. We'll deal with this part later as far as fixing that up if we need to. Of course, it may work out just fine, gives it that rustic kind of look, because not that big a deal, and it may actually be the other side of the board that we use. So just wanted to show you that. You got to decide which is going to be better, for your board to be straight and flat, or to have some knots in it, like this here. You know, we are going for a rustic look, so we need to keep that in mind, all right?
All right, for those of you that may not have the luxury or just starting out using one of these kinds of saws, one thing that I did want to show you, if it's possible, without cutting my hand off, is even though this will take the entire board, and all I gotta do is roll it forward, I don't want to make the entire cut all the way through the board on the first pass. What I want to do is make several passes and get deeper and deeper each time, and the reason for that is I don't want the saw blade to bind and therefore either causing it to stop, me having to try to pull it out of the board. Also, it cuts down on the life of your blade, and it's very important for these blades to stay sharp when you're doing this kind of work. So just bear with me here. I'm not going to hold this board, so hopefully it won't go anywhere. But just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Alright, see how it's kicking there? It's because I would be normally holding this board. Hold on one second. And for those of you that may, right now in real life, obviously you would be holding this board and not doing what I just did, because that exactly occurred what I don't want to occur. So I've got a line, and the board is still not cut all the way through. So I'm going to finish that off, but I'm just making several passes with the blade so that I get a clean, nice cut, and my saw blade doesn't bind up. And one of the things that while we're at this point, one of the things that we want to notice is the rings. Those are going to come into play in just a minute when we start putting our board together. In this particular board, so we can get a better shot. This is actually the factory cutting, but it gives us a little bit better detail as far as which way the rings are actually running. In this case, the rings are running this way. They're running down. All right, and so ideally, when we put boards together, we want to go down, up, down, up, down, up, however many acrosses you got to go. It doesn't matter which way you start, but you want to alternate each one. The reason for that, as the wood dries, it's going to dry in the direction that the rings are running. And so if we put them all the same way, let's just say they're all going down, the table when it's finished is going to have a tendency to curve down like that. And obviously that's not something that we want. So we want to alternate that pattern the best that we can. Sometimes it's not possible simply because of the defects on the tops of the wood. But we deal with that with putting in extra screws and stuff like that. But keep that in mind. We're going to alternate up and down. So if we have one ring is going this way, our next one is going to go this way, up, and then down. Okay, so we got an up and down type pattern when we're putting our boards together. All right, so obviously this is going to be a several step process. I'm not going to be able to do it all in one video. However, you could make a table easily in a day. There is no question about that whatsoever. But what I wanted to show you is kind of what we're going for, and what we want to achieve in this very first step. This is actually 3 boards put together. There's 1, 2, and 3. We have a nice even finish. Now this has not been finish sanded or anything, but all the boards are even, and it's nice and straight. And this is actually going to be a little sofa table that we sell a lot of these. But one of the things that I wanted to show you is this is what we're trying to achieve to start our round table. Now, if I turn this over, you'll see how we joined everything together, which we're going to get into in detail, using what we call a Craig jig. This is absolutely the best thing on the market to use. Get my little thing out here, see what we got. The Craig jig costs about $99 for one, but it is well worth it. What it does is drills these pocket holes. There we go. Pocket holes that you then use screws to tighten it together along with glue, and it gives you a instant bond that you could go ahead and work with that night. If you can see that there, that is perfectly straight. So this is what we're going for. Ours obviously is just going to be a little bit wider, and just a little bit. This is 4 foot, and ours is going to be 5 foot and a little over 50 so inches across, and then we're going to draw our circle to cut that out. But just want to give you a quick shot. This is what we're going for. This is what we want to achieve with the process that we're doing now, okay?